Hi. In this video, we'll be talking about lossy compression. So here's a question for you. Can you tell a difference between these two images? If you said yes, you must have incredible eyesight, because I see absolutely no difference. But what's incredible is that the image on the left is using 363 kilobytes of information, while the image on the right is only using 110. And this is huge. The image on the right is less than a third of the size of the one on the left, yet it still looks pretty much exactly the same. This is the beauty of lossy compression. So lossy compression is a form of compression that throws away some of the data in order to save space. Now it turns out with a lot of our digital information, we can throw away a ton of data without any noticeable differences from the original. Now this is really good news for writing really good compression algorithms, because this means we can make our compressed files super small by throwing away a ton of data, and our end user won't have any idea that any data is missing. Now, there are some pros and cons with using lossy compression. There's some trade-offs involved when you're deciding what kind of compression algorithm you want to use. So the pros of lossy compression are that the compressed version is significantly smaller than the original, much more so than with lossless compression. This is because if we're not concerned with recreating the original data bit by bit, we can throw away a bunch of data and get the compressed version much smaller. The downside is that the decompressed data is not the exact same as the original, but a lot of times it's very close. It's a very good approximation. So depending on your application, depending on what quality you need, how perfect you need your song to be or your image to be, a lot of times lossy compression could be a really good choice. So in general, lossy compression algorithms are much more commonly used than lossless compression algorithms. And this is because the human eye and the human ear really can't notice a difference when we've thrown away a bunch of data. And this is great because we want to get our data as small as possible, and the lossy compression algorithms do a really good job of really compressing our data down to a small size. So some example lossy compression algorithms are JPEG for images, MP3 is a lossy compression algorithm for audio, and MPEG-4 is a lossy compression algorithm for video. Now, just like with lossless compression, we need a file extension to indicate which algorithm is being used. So for example, if it's a .jpeg file, that means it was compressed with the JPEG algorithm, and therefore it needs to be decompressed with the corresponding decompression algorithm. Same thing for MP3, MP4, etc. Now, what types of data are really good for lossy compression? In general, lossy compression is very common with images, audio, and video. And this is because we can throw away a lot of brightness and resolution, and the human eye won't notice the difference, and we can get rid of a lot of really high frequencies or low frequencies, and the human ear won't even notice a difference. Let's look at an example of lossy compression with text. So one simple lossy compression algorithm for text would be to simply remove all the vowels from the text. So if this was our original text, can you read this text without vowels? The compressed version would look like this. Now, turns out this is actually the decompressed version as well, because we've thrown away those vowels. There's no way of putting them back in. So this right here is the decompressed text. Now, as you can see, the decompressed text still kind of gets the job done. We can read over this and still kind of figure out what's being said. Can you read this text without vowels? We can still figure it out. So depending on your usage, if you really needed to save space, such as in a tweet or in a text message, you might use this lossy compression algorithm, and the receiver, the reader, could still probably figure out what you're saying. But if you need it to be perfect, if you need it to be recreated completely, such as in an essay or in a professional writing, in that case, you might need a lossless compression algorithm, because returning back to the original is actually really important. So it depends on the application. Now let's look at an example of lossy compression with images. So one example is to simply decrease the resolution. We will represent the same image with much fewer pixels. We see this all the time. For example, we can do it with the Leopard image, and we can see that we can represent the same image with fewer pixels, and it still looks pretty good. We can do this with Karel as well. So the Karel on the left has 637 by 637 pixels, while the Karel on the right is only 90 by 90 pixels. And we can see we've lost some quality. There's a lot fewer pixels per inch, so we start to actually be able to see the pixels. We see those rough edges. But depending on your application, this might be okay. If you're a digital artist or you're a professional photographer, you might actually want a really high quality photo, and you don't care that it takes up a lot of storage, so you'll choose the Karel on the left. But if image quality didn't matter that much, Maybe you're making a website that uses Karel and you want your users to be able to use the website very quickly and download the website very quickly without having to download much data. You might choose the Karel on the right because saving storage is more important than having very high quality. So this is an example of lossy compression with images. Let's see some lossy compression in the editor.
In this program, we will write a lossy compression algorithm to compress down text into a smaller size. But since this is a lossy compression, we will not actually be able to recreate the original after we do the compression. To do this, we're going to use a remove all vowels compression. So let's take a look at what we have so far. So right now we can see our program basically takes an input text, then we're going to compress it by calling the remove vowels original, and then we're going to print out that result. So let's take a look and create a roadmap for what we have. So again, this method here is going to return a string that has the same original text, but without the vowels. So the first thing we need to do is we need to loop through all of our original text and get one letter at a time. So we're going to say loop over the original string of text. Okay. And then inside that loop, what we're going to do is we're going to say if the letter is not a vowel, add to the return string. And then finally at the end we can return the results. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. We can replace this with return results. Okay, and up here we're going to create that variable. So results equals nothing. Okay, so to loop over, we're going to just do a for loop. So for letter in original. Okay, and now we're going to say if that letter is not in a vowel, we want to, or not a vowel, we want to add it to our results. So we're going to say if not is vowel, and this is a function we haven't created yet, but we're going to create it. So we'll say pass it a letter. So if it's not a vowel, what do we want to do? Well, we want to add it to our results. So results plus equals letter. Okay. So now let's go back and we're going to create this isVowel method. So our isVowel method is going to basically return true if the given letter is a vowel, false otherwise. Okay, so we're going to define isVowel, and it's going to take a letter. And in Python, this is a pretty easy way to look at it. So we're going to define our vowels as A, E, I, O, and U. And then we can basically just look and see if our letter is in that string. And remember, that function just returns a Boolean, so we can just return that value. So we're going to just say return letter in vowels. Okay, and that should do it. Okay, so now again, we've defined our way to get vowels. We're going to loop through our method. If it does not contain a vowel, if the letter is not a vowel, we're going to add it to our results. Then we're going to return our results, and we can print that out. So let's give it a try. So hello world, can you read this? And there it is, removed without any vowels left. So again, we compressed it down, but as a lossy format, we can never actually go back and recreate our original method. We wouldn't know which vowels actually were taken out. We just know that they were removed. So this is an example of a lossy compression.